Hey guys, Sam here at NA Studios. Today I'm going to show you how to use a cool plugin from Waves Factory called Track Spacer, and we're going to use it as a gate on drums. As always, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like. Let's check it out. Okay, so typically Track Spacer from Waves Factory, this is used as kind of a frequency sensitive ducker, I guess you could say. Here I've got it on the guitar bus and the sidechain is set as the snare. So when the snare hits, it's going to duck that specific frequency band in the guitars. So let's just make it really obvious to start off with. Okay, so you can hear it pumping. And it's very effective for vocals, if you want to get the guitar out the way of the vocal, stuff like that. It's really good. Let's set it to something a bit more natural. Okay, so you can kind of hear it pumping, you can see what it's doing. What we're going to do though is we're going to put it on snare and we're going to see how we can take it from sounding like this to this. So we're using it as like a frequency sensitive gate. Now, previously I made a video using Envelope Shaper, the multiband Envelope Shaper in Cubase. Fantastic plugin. I've never found anything outside of that that can do what that does. Even the Envelope Shaper in Logic, it doesn't quite work the same. So I've been looking for something that does a similar job, and this is a really interesting one. So what I've done then is on the original snare track, I've put Track Spacer. And then on the snare duplicate that I've created, I've put Track Spacer as well, but I've also put a gain plugin and inverted the phase on it. So it's inverted polarity. So if we take Track Spacer off both of them, then if they're both at the same level, we will hear nothing because it's inverted the polarity. If I take that off, we'll hear the snare twice as loud. Now, the reason I'm putting it on both is because it incurs a little bit of latency. So if I were just to put it on one, then it wouldn't quite line up. But essentially what we're doing is we're going on the duplicate track and we're setting the sidechain as the original snare. So you've got two versions of the snare track. One is the original and one is the duplicate. And on the duplicate, you set the sidechain to be the original snare. Now, because it's polarity inverted, the only thing you're going to hear is the difference. So if they were exactly the same, you'd hear nothing. As soon as you change one of them, you start to hear whatever the change is. Now, because we're ducking this certain area here from, 300 hertz up to 4.8 kilohertz, we're only going to hear that element of the sound, and we're going to do it by a certain attack and release. So let's take the attack and release all the way down to start off with, and let's have a listen. So let's bring it up just so it's doing the high end, first of all. So it's just soloing that high end, but we want to be able to hear a bit more of the bottom as well. So if we take that down, there we go. If we get rid of that, then we'll just hear the original snare. This is how it sounded before with all the spill. Hit that ride cymbal. And as soon as you put on Track Spacer, it gets rid of it quite considerably. Now, playing with the attack and release, you can make that a little bit more natural. Bring the decay of the drum out a little bit. There we go. Cool. So previously it sounded like this. Now, let's make it really extreme. Before, all that spill from the ride. Now, so a really good, I guess you could say it's like a frequency selective gate, something like that. Typically we would use Waves Factory Track Spacer on a bus, but I like it in this instance. It really helps to bring out the attack of the snare. You could use it on any number of instruments, but I think it works best here. Maybe it'll work on toms as well, so you can get rid of the spill on the cymbals. Something to give a try. All right, I hope that's useful to some of you. Make sure you subscribe, click like on this video, and check what we've got coming next. Thanks a lot, take care.